Hello guys, good evening and welcome back. Alright, so in this video I want us to see how I made this beautiful senator outfit. Now I had a design I have already marked out on the fabric with the chalk. So I decided to have a gold combination on it with a white edge at both ends of the gold. So what I did was simply I cut out the gold at 2 inches by the length of the chalks I have marked out. Then I hemmed it in double folding, right? And then I cut the white by 2.5. I still repeated the same folding method. Then I hemmed it. So I had two strands there. That's two layers of fabric there. Then I used hemming gum to join the gold on top of the white, right? So now, so that it will have a fine finishing at both ends. Then I know how to position these material attachments on the chalks I have marked out. Then the reason of doing this is to make sure I have a perfect finishing. So I used a white fabric to place on top to iron. Now this is just to give it a nice finishing. As you can see how I am carefully ironing out all the edges there. Then I have to sprinkle water on it and then iron carefully so that the heat will get to the hemming gum I use in holding this. Now still bear in mind that this holding is for temporal grip or hold. I will still thread it on my machine, right? So make sure you take your time to watch this video to the end. And if you're a first time viewer, please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Then if you are a returning viewer, you are still welcome. Then you make sure you place all these to the pattern you have already drafted. Bear in mind that these patterns are solely your choice. You are the one to design the pattern you want. So there is no guideline or to ascertain how it's being placed. You can actually do this in any form of your choice. I actually saw the pattern online, but I had to do some alterations. I had to make some changes that will make mine to be a bit better or different from the one I saw online, right? So I did not really copy verbatim or exact of what I saw online. So you carefully decide, or if you want to duplicate it, there's still no problem, right? But then I think there should be some sort of originality from all your sewing so that you don't just copy exact of people's sewing in order not to copy their mistakes as well. So as you can see, I am carefully cutting out the excesses. So while cutting the gold fabric and the white fabric, I made them to be a bit longer in order to allow me position them properly the way I wish or I dream of, right? Or I have in mind. So now when you have gotten to this stage, you will carefully place all the hemming gums this way. So as you can see how I align them properly, making sure I place the ones that will be underneath first before placing the ones that will be on top lastly, so that it doesn't give issues or have issues, right? So you carefully place your hemming gum this way and then align it properly this way. Then you place them, you watch the outcome carefully. Watch the video to the end. You see the outcome. It's very perfect and nice design. So trying to cut off the excesses at this edge. So now this our sewing is not easy as some people might presume. Like this took me like roughly 3 hours to make, right? Now because the gumming stage is one of the most tasking stage. So if you know you don't have patience to gum and to fold nicely, please learn it, because it will help you to achieve better results in your stitching or in your sewing. Because if you know how to cut but you don't know how to gum, my brother, my sister, there is no way that you achieve a nice finishing. Your finishing starts from your gumming and your foldings. If you can see how fine the white tip is coming out properly, just take a good look at this. I think you will see it when I finish placing all of this. I will bring it close to the camera for you guys to see. So now when you must have taken your time and also learn how to be neat, as you can see how neatly fixed and these things are, and also learn how to protect the surface of your fabric by placing a white fabric. Please make sure you use a white fabric when doing such ironing. Reasons being that so that it doesn't drop color or shed color on the fabric you are making, right? So you just have to carefully do this, iron them properly, and then make sure that it's relaxed as shown, and don't be in a haste for the result. Don't be in a haste for the result. So just carefully place all these things that way, and then you gum accordingly, right? So you just need to be patient when making such style, and don't really have it in mind that it's easy. No, it's not easy. So at this stage, I'm trying to consider if it would be wise to have this strand going all through that way. Then bear in mind that this will be a shoulder zip, right? So I had to alter this. I shifted it to go to the armhole so that it doesn't distort the shoulder zip when fixing, right? So I had to shift it down so that it doesn't go to the shoulder point. I push this to the armhole. As you can see how fine this is already looking. So I will still place it this way and iron properly, as you can see. So it's something that you need to actually take your time in doing, right? So you don't need to be in a haste. So I have already prepared these stuffs behind the camera because it was tasking. But then if you follow my illustration or my explanations I just gave now, you achieve the same results, right? So just carefully do all of this, and then make sure you are neatly doing as you are seeing me do this. Please, there is no shortcut to heaven. You must pass through this stage, right? You must pass through this stage. For some of us that are new in this field, please follow the steps you are seeing. Don't look for shortcuts. There is no shortcut anywhere, right? So now after you must have done this in this form, then you make sure it's properly ironed. As you can see, I am taking my time to iron. This video might be too long for your liking, but I just did it this way so that it covers a wider range of knowledge for you. So if you watch this video properly from the beginning to the end, it will boost your courage, your morale, your confidence in your normal sewing. This video is not only just for you to learn this style, it's for you to have inspiration on how to go about similar styles like this and how to achieve neater results. So see, look at our outcome of the outfit. See how fine it's going, right? So this is just an irregular shapes. There is no guide on the shape you are going to have. Just put up something neatly placed and people will appreciate it. And also make sure that the colors you are picking for the combinations must tally, must match, right? So you just need to learn as well how to select colors, because it is also one of the special attributes of any good fashion designer. Because if you don't know how to do color selections, you will have challenges in making such outfits, because when you use a poor color combinations, the results will not be good enough, right? So you just need to carefully learn this, and the only way you can learn this is by looking up for color charts online. Color charts where they have color combinations, the different color that can go by each other, right? So study them and learn them, and as time goes on, naturally you are going to get acquainted with the knowledge without looking for color charts. But for now, this is how I decided to do this design, and it came out nicely well. So as you can see, my students are videoing it. They love the work I am doing. So it's something that is very, very interesting for us to learn. So after that, the next I am trying to do now is the sleeve. Now the sleeve is very, very tasking, right? So the inch I am using here is 1.5 inches width by 3, right, or by 2.5, however you want to do it. So I had to still fold into 2 equal parts and then use hemming gum to hold the middle. Then I placed a carbon paper, a brown paper, at the base of the or at the bottom, while I place this the right side facing the carbon paper. So I am threading the center points of this sleeve. You are going to see the basket effects of what I'm trying to do. Then I will turn one of the legs to the other end, one of the legs to the other end. So this is what I am doing, and take your time to do this. Don't worry, you are going to see the result. So this is how the sleeve that you saw on the thumbnail of this video was achieved, right? So if you look at it, it's going to be a very detailed video. Now this might be one of the longest videos you might see me make. So like I said, this video is going to help you, give you more inspiration, not only teaching you how to sew this style, but teaching you how to achieve more perfect results and something similar and awesome. So as you can see how I am altering all of this way, and then trying to make sure it's really giving us what we require, right? So now you carefully place the main fabric of the sleeve on the surface this way and sew from the back, right? Then this is the turn up effect. So this is just going to have that basket effect at the middle of the sleeve. Then carefully pull off the paper. You carefully pull off the paper, carefully, gently. Don't be in a haste. Take your time to pull off the paper, right? So yes, this actually is one of the most tasking things every tailor might face. It's not really the most tasking, but one of the, right? So you just carefully pull off the paper, and then after this I will go and weave the edges so that it will give me a neat finishing. So if it's preferable you use a black thread to weave so that it doesn't show poorly finished outfit. But if you don't have a black thread for the moment, you can still use white, but make sure you are using industrial weaving so that the weaving will be neatly done and properly done, right? So when you get to this stage, you are just I'm just pulling off the edges, right? Pulling off the brown paper from this. So the reason I am showing all of this is because recently some persons are complaining that my videos, I play music from the videos, or I don't have any voice explanations. But you and I, we know that to explain all of these things is not actually easy the way you guys might think, right? Sometimes I record in a noisy environment. I have to go home again and then use my time I should be using to rest to do voiceovers. So it's not really an easy stuff. So just please kindly share this video, comment, tell me how impactful this video is to you, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and invite your friends so that they will learn more from all of my illustrations, right? So you carefully pull off all of this, cut the threads as shown, cut the threads as you can see how I am cutting my threads nicely, and take your time to remove every bit of this brown paper on the fabric. So this might take you a longer time. So look at the outcome we have here. Whoa, this is interesting, right? You love what you're seeing? All right, so give me a thumbs up on this video, please. If you love it, give me a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. All right, so let's proceed with our pulling. So you pull off all of this brown paper, pull them off gradually. It's tasking. That is why I had to show you the details. Imagine the video I shot for more than 1 hour and I'm not yet done yet, and it's still pushing, right? So it's for you to know how many hours it might take you to do this. So pull them off properly that way, and then after you pull them off, you will now cut off the excess of the straps. That the straps I folded at both ends, right? So I will also show you guys how the second sleeve was done. In case you don't understand this one, the second sleeve will still give you more insights on how to do it. So after this now, I went to iron. then make sure you iron from the inside first, then place a white fabric first so that it doesn't shine or burn or dent the fabric, then iron out this way, cut off any excesses, right? And then this is the results we are seeing. I will go and weave before I join to the sleeve of my senator I am making, right? So now I just have to place fabric on top again and iron so that it flattens properly. Then bear in mind that I will top stitch, but before I top stitch I will have to weave inner, right? So look at the sleeve, look at the vibe. Yeah, it's giving us the Odogu vibe. So this is the second sleeve here. So I just have to show you guys how to do this again so that you get it properly once and for all, right? So I am trying to double thread the joining so that it gets thick, right? So that the threading doesn't get single or loose. So you place them accordingly this way. So you stop stitch, right? The kind of you back stitch and sew it twice so that it doesn't get stiff. You can still sew single, double lines or 3 lines depending on how you wish, but I am going back and front stitch on it so that it gets so strong on the brown paper. So I will keep on explaining for you guys to learn and for you to actually know how these things were actually done, right? So as you can see, it's not easy actually to do all of this in detail this way, but you have no option than to do it the way I am doing. So after you must have placed them this way, the next you will do now is to push it out from the one edge to the other edge, which you will also see as we progress. So I will calmly be showing you guys how these things are done, right? So if you like this video, please comment, right? Comment and tell me what you feel, how impactful this video might have been to you, and also tell me how good my channel videos must have been to your sewing career. I know most of us might not want to comment. Some of us might want to watch in secret and learn. There's still no problem. I still believe that one day you will still have reasons to comment and tell me whatever you want to tell me, right? So you turn one of the straps to the other side this way. Just see how I am interchanging them now, so the center remains constant, right? So this is just simple as ABCD. So it's not as hard as some persons might presume it to be. So I stitch from there, push all through the other way around, then stitch all through this way again. I also push to this other end as well, right? So I make sure I carefully drop all of these straps in accordance to the basket effects I might want to have. So you just have to carefully do this and then interchange them in this direction. So it's going to be an interesting video for you guys to watch to the end. So don't be discouraged by the length of the video, probably the advert that you might see playing. Just try to overlook the advert and learn from this, because it's more important for you guys to learn this. This is actually going to give you more insights on how to achieve or do this perfect sleeve design, also how to achieve this type of finishing. Also learn in this video how to fix your invisible zip on the shoulder. So you have a whole lot to learn in this video. I will suggest you don't fast forward this video, you use earpiece to learn, so that you will get to pick up all explanations I am making and possibly replicate this immediately you are watching, and share the results on my WhatsApp number for me to see how some of us might have achieved a whole lot of this, right? So take your time, watch the video, and then you comment and tell me whatever you face, challenges you face, and then let me know how to answer your questions if there is any, right? So just watch the end. Please don't be in a haste, because I actually took my time to make this video for you, especially watching me right now. This video was made for you specially, right? It wasn't meant for any other person, because I know if I had only posted this video without the explanations, you will still complain that I did not explain. So here I am explaining to you in detail how these things are done, right? So I have finished making now. So the measurement I am stitching there is 2 inches. So the gap from the one thread to the other thread is 2 inches, which I will place this edge of the fabric at the end of the threading, making sure that it's concealing the first thread I have made. So I am trying to explain this in a layman's language. Make sure that this fabric is, the sleeve point is positioned at the point where the thread point is. And one thing you should know here is that you must make sure that your sleeve calculations are properly done, right? They are like, you have a perfect calculation of your sleeve, so that you don't have anyone that after sewing it will be short or shortened, which is not proper. So you thread it all through that way, and then you bring the turn up, which I have already made, and I use hemming gum to fold into 2, which is actually preferable, so that it doesn't get too stiff or too strong at the run sleeve of your customer. So when you have gotten to that stage, or to this stage rather, you carefully place it this way and make sure that the measurement you are having there is above 1 inch or 1.5, which was what the initial one gave us. So I am trying to replicate the same 1.5 on this, so that it doesn't spill over, right? So that it doesn't spill over. So I stitch all through that way, and then I make sure I arrange the fabric as I am stitching, right? So don't be in a haste. So carefully do this and you enjoy the result. So one difference you should know here is that if you have admired top fashion designers, top fashion brands, one thing they do in secret is that they have a lot of things they do behind the camera. So, and if you happen to see anytime they are working on camera, please pay attention to detail. There's something you must learn, even if it wasn't explained. On your own, you will see what the person is doing, so that you might pick some vital information. Now, some persons might watch the video with the eye of criticism, with the eye of criticizing the approach the person is doing. Yes, as a normal human being, we have that inborn attitude in us, but try to pick the good in everything you are seeing and leave the bad or the wrong ones for the person, right? Now, some persons might not comment on your video when you are getting it right, but they will rush to comment when they see a wrong one you are doing, as if they have been waiting for you to fail, right? So it's actually not proper for some persons to watch your videos or watch your work with the intention of criticizing you. Now, they might not know if that was your first trial of the style, or that was your first attempt of that particular procedure. So anything you're seeing online, please learn the good part of that and leave the bad aspect of it for them, for the person to handle, right? Always be positive in your interactions with people. Always be good with whatever you are saying and doing. Then, even if you have something to complain, make it look like a question, like what made this to be this way or this format. By so doing, the person will be able to explain, so that there will be a kind of a dialogue or a communication between you and the person, than just voicing what you feel on another person's content or profile. Now, this has made a lot of fashion designers whom know what they are doing to stop bringing up content online, because some persons will come to judge them. But for people like us, to bring videos is our thing, right? So we actually don't care what other people might say. What we care for is for those of us that are learning well with our procedures. Now, also bear in mind that our procedures doesn't really mean we are the best. No, this is just a way to do this. It's also an approach, which can still mean there are also several other methods of doing that. So I'm trying to cut off the excesses of the strands or the loops from the turn-ups and the sleeve part. So I will go and weave this now and come back and continue with my sleeve. But before we continue, let's just go and iron first. So like I was saying, there are a lot of people that are having similar that are good in sewing, but they are scared of what people might say of their approach. I have met good fashion designers that I beg to come online, but they don't want because they are scared of people's comments. I tell them that even though you are inside your house, that you are doing, people will still comment or will still talk. So just come out and build your brand online, build your presence online, and work on the comment section, learn from it. If you feel what they're saying is true, accept it as well as a good fashion design, because no one knows it all. I keep telling people this. So now back to our illustration we are trying to learn here. Now, as you can see how I am ironing out the sleeve. So you cannot sew this type of clothes without proper ironing. So you must be friendly with ironing, and also look at how I am placing white fabric on top. Now you can still make use of the same fabric you are using, but never use another colored fabric, either white or the same green I am using here. As you can see how this sleeve is actually being prepared. So this sleeve took me almost 1 hour to prepare, but then the truth of the matter is that I am not bothered. Look at the vibe, look at the finishing, look at the outcome this sleeve is giving us on our 3/4 sleeve for our customer. See how beautiful it is, and I bet you will make this sleeve to come out even better than the one we are sewing here. So now we are done with the sleeve. Let's get down to the sewing aspect proper. So the first thing I brought out was my piping, and this is my facing. So my facing, I use hemming gum to fold, as you can see. Now I don't add hairstay anymore on the facing because I want the neck to relax properly. So the components have been okay. Now the sleeve, I later added this strand that was on the body of the clothes to the sleeve. Now the reason is to make sure that it's complementing the design on the body, but you can decide not to add it as well. Now the first thing to do here is to start threading. Now bear in mind that the threading will be on the gold one and not on the white, because the white does not need to be threaded. The folding was at the middle. So once you thread the gold, it is going to conceal the white underneath, right? So now I had to pull up the edge where one of the golds were inserted and thread from the underneath, so that I will have a neat finishing. Now this is what you will do. You will have to pull up any part. Now bear in mind that the underneath I have here is green thread. I have a green thread at the under, while I am using a gold on top. The reason of doing this is to make sure that the thread, that my inner cloth is neat, right? So I had to just carefully do this so that you will notice that I don't have any gold threadings underneath, because it's not professional to be seeing gold under another color of material that's not gold. So but before you do this, you must make sure that your shuttle is good enough and your machine tension is good enough, in order not to allow the green to be showing at the up part of the gold, nor the gold to show at the underneath. This is only possible when your machine is mechanically perfect or functional, right? So you need to take note of this as well before you proceed. I will bring the fabric close to you for you to see that there is no time that any thread was showing on either part of the fabric. So I had to pull up this and thread underneath so that the threadings will enter under properly. Now bear in mind that the hemming gum I used to hold it was just for temporal holding sake.
It is not going to be the final. It's just to help me have a clue on where the placements are necessarily needed or perfectly needed. So, continuing with the illustrations and the story of trying to encourage us to be a perfect designer is something that we all need to sit up, buckle up, believe in our craft, believe in ourselves, learn from our mistakes, learn from the mistakes of others. Right now, if you open your heart to learn on daily, you will notice that you are going to be a better designer at the end of a certain period of time. But when you claim you know it all, you tend to have challenges. Fashion evolves, so it's something that you need to actually pay great attention to and learn the best methods to approach any style of your choice, and also watch videos online. Nowadays, to learn fashion has been made easy because a lot of us have access to YouTube. Now, far back in the days when we learned sewing, YouTube was not this popular. YouTube was not this known to most of us here in Nigeria. It might be popular to some of us, some other persons abroad, but back then they don't have fashion designers that are illustrating these videos on YouTube, right? So, but now every channel, if you come online and type any topic, you must see over 5 to 10 channels that has that video that they are trying to explain. So you now have variety of sources of knowledge to learn, right? So in as much as some of the channels might not actually teach what you need, but once you get it properly rightly learned or done, you go a long way to be happy. So it's, as you can see, how I'm trying to tread these things carefully. I am not rushing. So I'm being patient enough. So for some of us who might think, I'm a pro, that means I can rush here. No, it's not done. There are some things you saw with detailing. Detailing is you being careful while doing that particular stuff, right? So as you can see, how I pulled off the other strand for me to be able to sew the one underneath properly, so that I won't have much stress again. So if you look at your design placements, you should know the ones that should be sewn first before the other ones, right? So that is what I am just doing here. There is no magical power, there is no special effect, there is no other instruction I'm doing. I am just following the procedure that is the concept of this particular design. So you just need to be patient in most times for you to achieve better results. But some of us are always impatient. Some of us are always moving from left to right, right to left, without having a mapped out plan, a procedure that they are following in order for them to achieve a perfect result. So when you watch this video from beginning to this point, I think you must have done yourself good to be able to get to this level. And still, don't give up at this stage. Please don't fast forward the video, watch the end, because there is a lot of things you get to learn from this 72.41 minutes video, right? So I am not going to cut this video in parts as some other YouTubers might do, or some other content creators might do. I will leave the video to run a full recording so that you and I will learn a lot from this. So next time you see my videos, even if I am not explaining, you'll be able to learn from the video without me explaining. So I am trying to thread the same design I placed on the sleeve. I just had to place the fabric on the sleeve in order to balance the design. At the beginning I did not want to place this one this way, but when I looked at it critically with my fashion eye, I saw the reason why I should do this on the sleeve as well. So it's something that you need to give your own professional judgment as a fashion designer. There is no guidelines, there is no rules that limits you from being creative. Your creativity is your own intuition, is your own God's gift, your own God's given talent. So when you use your creativity very well, you see that everything will be moving accordingly how you planned or how you wish. And also note that in this our fashion business or work, you need to be prayerful. When praying, ask God for inspirations, ask God to bless you intellectually, ask God to give you the patience to carry out jobs neatly and very diligently. So this outfit actually took me close to 4 hours in making, right? And normally I don't make one clothes in more than 1 hour. Depends on the style though, but the maximum I can make a cloth is 2 hours if it has much detailing. But then because of the high detail in this outfit, it might not really look hard, but when you start making them, you understand what I'm trying to say. So I had to use my hand to cut them, to gum them, to fold them, to do the designs for me to achieve this perfect result. And also note that in as much as some of us might be bosses on our own, probably we have workers that are working for us. There are some designs that you must do by yourself on your own. Even though you might want to assign duties, sometimes these designs you create by yourself or you do it on your own will go a long way to send a message to your workers for them to know that their boss is also on fire, right? Like the boss is also on it, that the boss is a guru in this fashion as well. So it gives them that knowledge that they should not mess up with your jobs because you have already set a standard that this is how your jobs must be. Now, even though you are not into sewing 100% sewing, probably you just have workers working for you, you still need to be around in most cases, and also try to be nice to your workers so that they will also have the mind to gently or calmly do your jobs very well without being biased or being feeling or impatient to carry out such detailed stitching, right? So this is actually one of the most one or this is actually the longest video I have, right? Aside my suit videos or my trouser videos, which might be longer than this, but then on normal senator sewing, this is one of the longest videos. So I have finished stitching the goat form, the goat part. So the next step we will do now is to start sewing the cloth proper. Now, what some persons fail to understand that sewing has different stages, and they feel the main stage of sewing is when you start threading. Now, cutting is part of sewing, gumming is part of sewing, styling is part of sewing, ironing is part of sewing, finishing is part of sewing. So all of these things comes out to make the finished product. But some persons will only focus on the cutting and the threading. They won't remember that they will gum, they won't remember that they will style, they won't remember that they will do some detailing or some finishing. Now it makes the work look boring or look awful when you don't take your time to go detail in your threadings, in your gummings, in your styling. Now I have spent almost 39 minutes now explaining something I did for more than 4 hours. So, and you might think it's easy that way, but it's not really easy. But with patience, commitment, and focus, you tend to still learn this and do it even better or at exact of how I am doing this. So now, what I was doing here is I'm trying to top stitch the sleeve turn up of the hand. Now the reason I was doing this is to make sure it laps properly. So I have weaved the underneath before I did the top stitching. Please note importantly. So now the next here I am doing is my inner facing, right? Inner fancy facing. Then I am doing this on the back block, the wrong side of the back block. So I cut out a vintage material I have. The measurement lengthwise is 6 inches or 6.5 or 7 inches lengthwise. Then the width from the neck edge 2.5 inch on 3 inches in will be ideal. Then I weaved right round the fabric that way. I weave the edge right round. Then I ironed it out properly first, got the midpoint, and then trying now to thread all through that way. Now the threading is very important because it's going to help you clip it permanently on the outfit. And also note that I did not fix my back facing yet. I only threaded this only on the back block. The back facing is yet to be sewn. Please note importantly, the back facing is yet to be sewn. So first do this at the wrong side of the back block, that's the back bodies, right, or the back panel. Then I am trying to cut off the excesses that is protruding on the shoulder area and the two shoulders and the neck. So try my best to be careful while trimming this. Make sure you don't widen the neck depth or width henceforth. Then cut off the threads, excess threads. Then I brought my label. If you have a label, you bring your label this way and then open it up that way and then stitch. Normally from the neck depth is 3 inches or 2.5 inches point, then place at the center. Then I want to stitch the label from the inside so that there won't be threads visible at the front side. So I have to turn the leg backwards, then stitch underneath the label that way, and then turn it the other way around and then stitch the other leg. So this is how I decided to be fixing my label henceforth, so that I will have less threads on my label in order not to, it's still okay if you have thread there. There's nothing wrong if you thread it, but then if you can carefully avoid the threading, fine and good. You can still do it with the English style of fixing labels. So just turn it the other way around and then stitch the other one. As you can see how I stitch from the wrong side, then cut the threads as shown. And then the next thing you will do here now is to open up the leg of the label and also stitch from the other one as well. So drag it up this way. You might not be able to see this, but then I'm trying to explain. Drag it up that way and then drag it this way and then place your machine underneath and sew. So guys, this is how my day went in a nutshell. I spent time today making these beautiful outfits for my customer, my client, and then I know the reason I'm taking my time to do all of this for him is because I know that he must make referral to me, right? Like bringing me more customers, because the outfit is really dope. Like it's dope, as you can see, it's dope. I can't wait for him to put it on Sunday and make some comments and let me know how people feel on him wearing a redefined outfit. So the joy that I derive when my customers are putting on my well tailored outfits is second to none. I actually feel on top of the world. I feel butterfly, you know. But then this is how it is. Look at how the label came out. The threading was done at the inside. There was no thread visible at the front side. So now I've fixed my label. Please note the stages, the steps I am taking. Please don't interchange any step. Follow the steps you are seeing here. Then after this, I am trying to join the front block to the back block. Then I placed it this way. Then I have to bring the back facing. Note, back facing. I place the right side of the back facing the right side of the front block. Then I have to bring hemming gum and then cut at this stage, placed on the right shoulder. Now bear in mind that this cloth is going to have an invisible zip on the left shoulder. So I have to place it at the right shoulder and make sure you hold the three shoulders to be perfectly okay or relaxed or equal, then stitch half an inch or 3/4 inch from the shoulder point all through down to the neck area. Then while doing this, make sure that your hand is straight enough. Don't stitch all through and have a bent line or a rough edge or a rough sewing. So stitch all through this way and make sure it's properly done. Then once you are done stitching all through to this point, you cut your threads as shown. And then this is how it came out. Now the reason I am putting hemming gum on this shoulder point is to enable me, when I iron, the ironing will be relaxed, so I won't need to top stitch the shoulder anymore, right? Because sometimes I try to avoid threads being visible on my outfit. So any method that we use that will help me eliminate threadings on my outfits, it gives the work a more better finishing and result. So I'm trying to stitch the back facing now, so I have to fling the facing that was in front to push to the back. By so doing, I have sealed the right side of my shoulder. Note importantly that the left side is still open because of the invisible zip I am yet to attach to that place, right? So don't mistakenly stitch the left side as well. So I am threading my back facing, then you make sure you drag it wide open so that there is no rumples underneath. So make sure you relax, and the center lines of the iron must correspond. The center lines this way must do what? Correspond. So you pin the machine properly that way, and then the next you will do is to lap it properly, then thread all across, all through this way, and then make sure the back facing is relaxed. Please carefully do this, as you can see how I am carefully stitching my back facing. So if I can carefully do this, why won't you do yours in a careful manner as well? Then I like having a double thread on my back facing, and the reason is it gives me what they call a decorative stitch, right? Making it to have a fanciful finishing, a decorative finishing at the back. So after you must have done the threading that way, so I will just stitch down the left back panel this way. Now it's just to make the back facing and the back panel to be one. It's just to make the back facing and the back panel to be one. So stitch it half an inch down that way, half an inch down that way, cut my thread this way and cut my thread that way. And then the next I will do is to go and weave. So I will have to weave this shoulder first, the shoulder back and front, before I proceed. I'll also note importantly that I use light hairstay to gum the front neckline. So I'm trying to trim off some protrusions of the back neck on the front. So trying to make sure I trim just lightly, right? So yours might not need to be trimmed. You might just have it perfectly that way. So now I am going to weave. So after you must have weaved your shoulder points, then you come down and stitch it 3/4 inch down, a bit less than 1 inch. So stitch the left shoulder where you are going to attach your invisible zip on or from. Then it must be stitched with loose stitches, right? So you have to loosen the stitch of your machine, then stitch 3/4 inch down. Please note, not half an inch and not 1 inch. So I am losing my stitch of the machine this way. So once I loosen it that way, I will stitch 3/4 inch down that way, and then I will thread all across. I've already bought my invisible zip, but unfortunately when I went to buy the zip, I did not get green, so I just picked black to fix it on the fabric. But make sure while doing yours, you use the color of the fabric. So I didn't see green, I was seeing lighter green, so I had to just pick black at once, so that since it's not going to show,
so only the head will come out. It will not be too bad if I had picked green. So I have gone to my table now. I have ironed the shoulder points, open pressed the zip joint allowance, and trim my neck. Now the next I will do is to pipe. Please note importantly that you must pipe your neck before you fix your invisible zip. Yes, I said it. You must do what? Pipe your neck before you fix your invisible zip. So you just have to carefully pipe your neck. So this video is rich in knowledge. It shows you a lot of things, even neck piping, zip fixing, right? So it's just something that you just don't need to miss. So when you must have gotten to this stage, I think you are almost ready or done with your video. With the next thing to do now is for you to make yours. So I will suggest you make yours as soon as possible, and probably come to my comment section and post the video, the pictures of your work, and make referral to this video. I think I will hold it as a challenge. Anyone that makes this outfit properly well, the same method I have made this, I will send you 2 gig of data for you to use. But you must make sure you send pictures, and you can as well help me teach others. Share the video on your timeline, tell your friends about my channel, invite them to my channel to watch, and then make sure we all are growing together. That's the sense of life. When you learn something new, teach your friends, teach your family, teach your colleagues, for them to learn as well. So these videos I am making for you guys to watch on my channel, it's not only for you alone to watch, it's for you and your friends. So bring them to my channel, tell them about Mr. Redefined Clothing, right? So I am trying my best to pipe. So while piping, I make sure that I tuck in the neck of the outfit properly inside the bias I have made. Now I have made previous videos on piping. If you don't know how to cut bias, please kindly watch my other videos on bias making and how to do it properly before you cut your bias. Bias must be cut in angle 45 degrees or on bias form. So watch my other videos which I have posted in this channel on how to make a bias for the piping, right? So you make sure you watch the video before you can boast of making your bias or piping. So after you must have threaded the first threading, it is recommended that you top stitch again. Now that top stitching is going to help you have a more relaxed neck bias or neck piping. Then I do 3 threadings: the first thread of the bias closure, the tip of the bias, and the middle of the bias. So these are what you will learn, or you are learning already on this channel. And the next thing to do as well is to learn how to iron the bias properly, which I think I will make as a fresh video, because I have seen that most of us have issues on how to iron the neck. So if you don't know how to iron the neck of your bias, please comment on this video for me to be able to know that you need the video, and I will make the video available to you as soon as possible. So comment, please drop the video of how to iron the neck properly, and I will video it and drop for you guys to watch. You know, I got you guys covered anytime, any day. So now when you have sewn the second thread, I am now trying to balance the machine foot at the middle of the neck piping, and I am threading the third thread at the middle. So this is very important, and not importantly as well, that your sewing or your threading here must be straight as possible, right? It must be straight as possible, because this is one of the finishing touches you are making on your clothes, because the threads are visible to people having a look at your outfit. So when you must have taken your time to watch this video to this point, I guess you must have learned a lot, and you are happy you are watching this video,
Don't forget to like, give me a thumbs up on this video, comment, share, very important. Invite your friends to come and watch with us or with you, and for you to also learn a lot. So guys, so you carefully do all of this, and at the end of the day, you achieve a good result. So after this, now the next I'm going to do now is to bring my zip and then try to stitch. So before that, I had to close back that area I loosened before I did my bias. So I had to stitch it back with a loose stitch as well. Note importantly that any area you're going to fix your zip must be sewn with a loose stitch, right? So I am using my loose stitch to thread that particular spot. So after that, I will bring my zip now, and then I will show you guys how to place your zip as well. So how to place your zip is simply by taking the invisible edge and place at the middle of the joining, right? So make sure it's placed at the midpoint of the joining, and then you are going to use your loose stitch to temporarily hold the zip at the both edge, right? So use a loose stitch to stitch this zip temporarily on both edge, making sure that the center of the zip is positioned at the center point of the joining where the back and front panel met each other. So you stitch it this way, and then you stitch all through. Carefully do this. So I'll also give you a trick on the easiest method or the easiest way to make your neck to align, because some persons, after fixing their zipper at the shoulder, the front and the back neck doesn't align, and it is an eyesore for a designer not to be able to control that deficit or that issue, which is random or which is common in some cases, but it's not, it should be common to you, because if you have taken proper observation on this, you should be able to avoid that error. So I am now trying to hold this. Now let me off the light so that you see it properly. So I make sure that I also started from the up of the zip of this um part of the zip. Then, sorry, I'm trying to explain to my students. So but then try to stitch from the up as well. Make sure that the gap between the left part of the and the right part are equal. That is the only time you can do this, and then make sure that underneath is still lapping as it should. So if you understand what I mean, so just try your best to do this first. So also thread this way. Also make sure that the zip is relaxed at the midpoint of the joining. So when you must have done this way, now the next you will do now is to unzip and then, sorry, loosen the loose stitch you use. Please don't cut the zip now. Please, I beg you, don't do what? Cut the zip now. So loose the first threading, which is what I'm doing now. So loosen the first threading, which was the initial threading you used to hold the front and back panel together, right? So loosen it all through this way. Bear in mind that I have not yet sewn the main sewing of the zip. I am just trying to open it up this way while the zip is being held permanently or temporarily, sorry, on the both panel, so that I don't have issues on the zip placement and fixing. So carefully loose all through this way. Then when you loose all through that way, now the next thing you will do is to bring your invisible zip footer. There is a footer they call invisible leg footer. This one I'm showing you here. Then when you bring it, you loosen your normal footer machine. So once you lose it, you fix it this way, and then once it's been fixed properly, the next you will do is to tighten it nicely as well, right? So it has the left and right.
So I think I'm using the left or the right. I don't know which one I'm using, but I'm using one of the footers. So once the one of the footers is being used, you won't have much challenges or much issues. So now you have seen how the zip is after losing the first threading. Then look at the neck, it's balanced, right? Then unzip it this way properly, and then there is an or there is a folded or a kind of ironed part of this zip that is being folded. So you have to tread on at the edge of that iron or that folded part. So I have to up my light so that I will see properly. Then this part is very important that you lap the invisible foot at that folded edge of your invisible zip and thread it carefully. Please thread it carefully. So you thread it not too close to the zip track, not too far as well. Will I say a dot gap is enough, right? So thread from the beginning to the end and cut the threads as well. Then cut your threads as well. Then after this, look at, it's advisable that you zip it back to confirm if it's nicely done. So I have zipped back and then it's okay. Then I have unzipped again. Then I'm trying to stitch the last part of the zip as well. So I have to start from the down. But if you have the other machine footer, I told you it has two footers, right? So you can change this one, the other one again, and thread without having to turn the fabric from the down, which might still result or tend to give you issues if you did not hold it permanently with that first threading I made at the onset. So after this now, the next thing to do is to thread the other track as well, just in repetition of what we did in the first track, nothing much, nothing less, but still be careful in doing that, right? And then make sure it's something that you are not in a haste, because the moment you're in a haste, your mistake level tends to increase for some persons. But for me, if I'm in a haste, I tend to be more careful and more perfect in my dealings at that moment because I don't want to repeat or delay. So look at how fine our zip is giving us the vibe, the Odogu vibe, the Mr. Defined vibe. If you are watching this video till now, may God bless your business. May God enrich your cost. May your customers come and pay you the amount you so desire. Because I know some of us might not watch to this very moment. So at this point, I pray for you watching this video that all you shall do henceforth shall be perfect in the eyes of your customer, in the eyes of anybody that is patronizing you. You shall never lack. You shall grow from strength to strength. I pray for you. If you happen to hear this prayer, kindly type amen and amen. And I pray the God Almighty I serve will be on your side at the time of your need. God will provide for you to grow your brand from strength to strength, from glory to glory. You shall have money to buy machines, modern machines that will equip your shop to the level and taste of your dreams. May God Almighty bless, keep protecting, and provide for you, my viewer, at this hour, at this moment. All right, so back to the sorry for the interaction I did. I just had to encourage you by praying for you, for my viewers, right? So now I'm trying to seal the zip, so I had to just fold it backwards, right, and then top stitch. Now in the top stitching, I make sure I threaded on the same track where the piping was made, so that it will not show that it was threaded, but it's hiddenly sewn. So I am trying to thread at the middle line. That middle piping line is what I'm threading, just to clip the underneath part of the zip properly, so that it doesn't affect the zip track or distort your customer when he is putting it on his body. So I think I have really tried to have explained this video for good 64 minutes now. So the rest of the video will be some kind of music, right? For you to enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you guys for watching. The next you will see will be the sleeve fixing and the locking. So which I know most of us might or still must have known by now. If you have not learned it, carefully watch my other videos so as you can see how fine our zip was finished and done. So it's now time for you to cut the zip excesses and then fix your sleeves, go and weave, and then apply the measurements of your customer and lock the body. Thank you for watching. Please kindly subscribe to my channel. This video took me 4 hours to produce. I had to rush it to this very moment. So for this sleeve, I am trying to think which part should go first. Is it this one that corresponds with the body design or the back one? So I'm trying to be calculative enough, but then I think I will do the back side so that because this design did not appear on the right side, so I am trying to just use the sleeve first to fix on the part that has the zip, because I have cut out the zip edge so it doesn't pull off by mistakenly or by chance. So this are more, or this is just all you need to know at this very moment. Thank you for watching, guys. See you in my next video.